Hi, I'm Sheila Layton. Welcome to the Beyond Coincidence Show, where every moment holds a miracle and we talk about seeing the hand of God in our lives. Call it a God wink or a tender mercy or whatever you want. Everyone on this show has seen the hand of God or their higher power in their lives in a very real and personal way. Welcome, everybody. You are going to be super happy that you tuned in today to listen to this episode with Mr. Dave Butler. So let me just tell you a little bit about him. So just be clear, I wrote this bio, he didn't. So David Butler grew up in Texas. He served a mission to Korea for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he currently lives in Utah. He and his beautiful wife, Jenny, who he says is way too good for him, have 6 amazing kids. He's an author, a podcaster, a course writer, a tour guide, and so many other things. There's probably nothing he cannot do. But I know that he does go to the gym, so maybe I'll ask him about how his burpees and his pull-ups are going, because maybe he's not good at that. And I know he's a good singer too, so I don't know. He can just do all the things. He loves the Astros and Bluebell ice cream, but what he really wants the world to know is that he loves Jesus, Jenny, and his kiddos. He spreads the light of Christ and laughter wherever he goes, and I am just thrilled to have him on the podcast. So welcome, Dave.
Thank
David.
you.
You like David or Dave?
Either, really. It's split. You know, some people are more passionate about it than me. My sisters, they insist on calling me David. My best friends growing up call me Dave. So
whatever. What does your mom call you?
David.
David, yes.
So sometimes I hear that and think I'm in trouble, to be honest. Just kidding.
Yes, we do tend to use the full, more, formal name when we're mad at our kids. Sure. Okay, Dave. I'll call you Dave then, because I'm not your mom or your sister. So tell me, what does life look like today? I mean, I know you're super duper busy. You have a son on a mission and 5 other kids and all the things you're doing. What does a day in the life of David look like?
Oh, wow. I don't actually think there's a typical, to any of the days that I'm in. Just because on purpose, my brain works like this, all over the board. It's a
little bit of ADHD.
A little ADHD brain. And so every day is a little bit different. I mean, I'm recording podcasts, or I'm getting ready for tours, or all the things that you said in the bio that I'm doing. I'm studying, I'm preparing, I'm recording, I'm writing, I'm all those things on any given day during the week. The constant, though, is I'm coming home every night. The kids are all involved in so many different things.
Yes.
Cheer and football. And that takes most of my emotional energy and time and interest. I love all the things that I do. I kind of am getting to a spot right now where I want to just, if it's not giving me life, or if it's not fulfilling just what I feel is my purpose, then I want to let it go,
Yeah. Because I feel like you're in the busiest phase of life right now with all the, with the kids home and all the things, and you can get burned out real quick.
Yeah, right.
And like you say, Jenny and the kids and Jesus are your biggest thing, but Jesus takes up a lot of your time because you're preparing so much, right? I mean, not that that's a bad thing, because it's a good thing, but I feel like, sometimes, you, like you say, you have to protect your time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I appreciate you coming, because I know how busy you are and life is crazy and whatever.
No. So happy to do this, but.
So do you have are you still at UVU? Like, do you still teach Institute at UVU?
I have a class a week. I teach at UVU, Thursday night class.
Oh, Thursday night class.
Yep.
It's a Jesus class.
It's my Jesus class.
I love it.
People are like, what's the topic? And I was like, whatever I want to teach about Jesus that night.
So you're not following like the Come Follow Me or anything. You're just finding your favorite scripture story and.
Yeah, just something that strikes me that week, or something, an old favorite, or, whatever.
Yeah. And so do you try to make it applicable to these 20-somethings in their lives, I suppose?
Oh, yeah. I feel like that's one of the number one rules of teaching is relevance. Like, who cares?
Yes.
And every teacher and speaker, I think, has to, as part of their preparation, get to the heart of that, answer that question. So what? And if they can solve a problem, answer a concern, address something that people are thinking about, then there's interest and it's meaningful.
Right.
So I'm always trying to think about that. Doesn't come easily often, but it is something that I spend a lot of time on, thinking through who cares about this and why would they?
Vital. I think it's vital because, when I was growing up, it was even raising my kids, it was more kind of, let's make sure we're checking all the boxes. And I've actually apologized to my kids. I'm like, listen, I got it a little bit wrong. I did the best I could with the information I had, but when we know better, we do better. right?
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, it's about a relationship with God. And you guys, and you have taught me that. Like I'm literally kind of like your third week of Don't Miss This. I was there, right? So
That's
like
awesome.
5 years ago, or whatever, when you
Yeah.
announced it
Yeah.
again. And so I've loved it. I've learned so much and I've loved it so much. But I just said to the kids, I was like, listen, I got it wrong. It's not about checking the boxes. It's about a relationship with God. If you want a deeper relationship, you will need to do those things. Like he loves you regardless. Like, where do you want that relationship to be? Do you want to be able to feel him and hear him? And you're like, all those things, right? And so I love that you're doing that for that YSA, those young adults, because, just because they grew up in the church doesn't mean that they have a strong testimony.
Yeah. Right.
And if you can bring that relevance into their lives, like that's so powerful. And I love that you're doing that. I mean, all the good that you're doing. I mean, you're probably just living your dream, right? I mean, you're busy and you're like traveling, you're talking to the youth, you're, home with the kids, and you don't really have a set schedule. I mean, you probably kind of do, but I mean, just like you said, your brain's all over the place. So you're like, oh, Don't Miss This. I'm doing Good News Brand. I'm doing Revival. I'm just going everywhere, right? So I mean, I'm sure you have some things are scheduled, but that's kind of fun. Like,
yeah.
I hope you're just so excited about your life right now.
Yeah, it is really. I was just talking to somebody this morning about that. He was just like, do you feel like, tell me what aspects of your life are just good right now? And I feel like I kind of rambled because I had a lot to say.
Right.
So
do you
it's really great.
Get, like, scared though? I'm like, okay, everything's so awesome right now. I can't even say that out loud because I mean, not that you don't have trials, because you do, but you know what I mean? Like, you've got a son on a mission, and that's wonderful. And a son that came home, and like right now you kind of got this little nice bubble.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many times in life where I've said, I wish I could push a pause button because I really like, the way things are. But in hindsight, we wouldn't be where we are today without the experiences that we already had. And the same will be true of the future, right? I'm a firm believer in, I mean, no one wishes hard times upon themselves or trials or anything like that. But I am a firm believer that whatever happens, God's going to turn it for good, that he's going to carry us through it, that we're going to find. I mean, I was just this morning preparing to teach, a lesson from scripture about someone who finds himself in prison and the sweet lessons that are learned in that prison. He even called it a temple prison when he was done, a place where he found God, which seems contradictory, that you could find God in a prison place. And yet the scriptures are full of stories like that. And so I think I just approach my future thinking, I don't hinge my worth or value on living a charmed life,
Right. And we actually don't want that.
No. Right.
I mean, human nature wants that, but if you are trying to grow and become, you're not going to do that in the easy.
Right.
Like, I look back on my life and I'm like, some of those things I just really wish didn't happen, but I've learned so much. And the Lord has shown me, I mean, like 40 years ago when I lost 3 members of my family, I didn't want that. I was 21 years old and I didn't want that. But looking back now, I'm like, holy cow. And even up until 5 years ago, the Lord's still teaching me things that I'm learning from that. And it's such a profound thing. When people would say, oh, I'm so thankful for my trials. And I'm like, I'm going to punch you in the face because that's stupid. Right. I can almost say that. Like, I guess I kind of can now. I don't know if I'd say thankful, but I have learned and I know that I wouldn't be who I am without those trials. And so, like you say, if you can approach it like that, I think that's fantastic and beautiful.
And I suppose what someone maybe ought to say is, I'm not thankful to my trials because the trials didn't necessarily teach you something. I'm thankful to God who taught me something in the midst of my trials, who turned a fiery furnace into a refining experience.
Right.
When it could have sunk me.
Yes.
And it could have destroyed me. It had the potential to.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
And I never thought about that before, but I've heard people say that. I'm thankful for my trials. And I'm like, wait, the trial didn't actually teach you the lesson. God taught you the lesson.
Yes. I'm thankful for God and for what I've learned.
Right.
Because we are not who we are today without those experiences. So
right.
I love that. And I love that you're teaching the kids that, because I feel like the more we can strengthen that relationship with God and trust him, then when those really hard things come, we can look for his hand and know that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We can be like, okay, this is really crappy. God, I know you love me. I know you're with me. Let me find your hand, and just start looking. And it's there, forever. And I just think if you can trust the Lord in the good times, when the hard times come, he's still there.
Right.
And I just think that what you're doing with the kids and all the things you're teaching are so awesome, because it's just building that relationship with the Lord, and they're learning his character, and that's beautiful. Okay, so David, tell me, what was life growing up in Texas? How many kids in the family? Where did you fit in? Were you the brat, or were you the good kid?
It's the best.
You were the best kid. Yeah, just sort of did religion play a part on all those things, and how did that morph into your relationship with the Lord?
We grew up in such a happy, good house. I loved my years growing up in Texas. I just got back this weekend. I was just down there this weekend, and every time I go, it just feels like home again. I mean, I love Utah, where I live. I love it. But it also feels like this is a really special place to me. Still, there's a lot of good memories here. And I was one of 6 kids. I have an older sister, me, a brother, and then 3 more sisters.
Okay.
And we just, I feel like my life growing up is super similar to our life right now. Everyone's just doing a lot of things in their own direction, but also we all we love each other. I still have a fantastic relationship with my parents, with all of my siblings. Getting together is a riot.
Yeah, I bet there's lots of grandkids now.
Oh yeah. And I've been so lucky, so blessed to do life with the people I've been able to do life with. And I recognize and know not everybody has that privilege and gets that opportunity, but I did. And I cherish my memories from growing up. It was fun. It was a faith-filled home. We were taught to be ambitious and to be life-loving people. And I grew up thinking I could do anything.
That's awesome.
Every opportunity was available to me. And so, I have such happy thoughts and feelings and memories of my growing up years, which I'm lucky for. I know that yes. And in part, and maybe in large part, that has shaped the way sometimes people want to do things as a parent to be different from their parents, right? They're like, oh, I learned not to be that kind of parent. And I feel like I grew up with a model of how I want to live my life, how I want my home to be like, how I want to parent. I still, I might be different from my parents, but I look back on how my parents did things and feel like I take my cues from that still. And
that's a beautiful thanks, mom and dad thing.
Yeah, really.
To be able to say, you know what, I actually want to be a parent like you. Like that is a beautiful honor to bestow on them. So I'm assuming you grew up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mm-hmm. I did.
So scripture study, prayer, young men, young women's activities were a big part of your life, I'm guessing.
Yeah, all the above. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so would you be able to, if you were to say, how did I develop my relationship with God? Was it kind of an aha moment, or was it more of a line upon line, prove the Lord situation?
If I look back on my life, I can't think of a time when I was not a person of faith and a believer. I've always, that's inherited, I'm sure, as a
spiritual gift.
A spiritual gift. Also, like the home I grew up in encouraged that and allowed it to be. And I just have, I've always, my parents are really good about, we had things we did as a family because we do them as a family, Like it was not an option whether we joined for family dinner. It wasn't an option whether we joined for family prayer. Yeah. This is what we do together as a family. But I can remember my senior year, my mom, saying, you're leaving and you have to choose and decide if this is the kind of life that you want to live and if you want to continue to be a person of faith. And because I grew up as a person of faith, it was almost that question that Peter asks Jesus when Jesus says, will you also go away? And Peter says back, where would I go? Where would I, like, if I think about what kind of fruits I want to enjoy in my life, I have already learned the patterns that bring those. It's
Right.
working. It's working. When somebody says, I think the gospel of Jesus Christ is true, that's an interesting word to use, right? What do you mean true? Like
Yeah.
that it's not false? Or what do you mean? And what comes to my mind is that it works. Living the gospel of Jesus Christ produces the fruits that I want.
The
And
joy, the peace.
I don't want them because someone told me to want them. I don't love being married because someone told me I'm supposed to be married. I don't love having kids because somebody said you should have kids. I
Right.
don't love it because it's the right thing to do. I genuinely love it. Like, just like this morning, like everybody getting ready to go and leave, I just was kind of sitting there looking at everyone. I was like, I love these. My kids are so cool, and it's so fun to do life together with them. And we've got the jackpot on them. And anyways, it just was seriously a thought this morning. And so I don't have kids because God commanded me to multiply and replenish the earth. Like that's
Right.
not why I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it because I'm genuinely happy about it.
Yeah. Fills your soul with joy.
Yeah. And that's what I would say to somebody. What fruits do you want to experience and enjoy in your life? Then live the patterns that lead to those.
I love that.
And I feel like I don't know when and if they were directly taught to me, but I experienced them growing up.
And that's the more powerful anyway, is for
Right.
you to experience those. And if somebody
Yeah.
tells you something, or if you feel it, which is more
Yep.
powerful.
Yeah.
Right. And so you saw how your parents lived, you knew how you felt, you probably saw how some of your friends lived, and they didn't seem very happy. And
Yeah.
like you say,
Yeah.
when you were living the standards of the gospel, you felt joy and peace and
Yeah.
love. Well, don't we
Yeah.
all want that? Joy, peace, and love?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's you nailed it. Awesome. All right. So David, I know
And we have great food down there too, as you just say.
great food.
Like Texas has great food, great people, great sports teams. So it's
Just
just
everything, eh? So,
yeah.
okay, before we get into the experience, what the heck? I've never had Bluebell ice cream. What is that?
This is why I know you have not truly lived.
I know. I think I
There
missed
are
out.
secrets. There are secrets of this world that you are not
No, is this a Texas
experiencing.
thing?
It's a Texas thing.
Okay.
Texas, it's just a homegrown. And you ask anyone, even a non-Texan, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you. I mean,
Okay.
a
So
Texan will
next time
tell you.
I'm in
A Texan will
Houston,
tell you up and down, left and right. But even a non-Texan will have to like agree and say there's just a different quality. They're coming from a different udder or something.
okay.
I
So
don't know. They're just
is Bluebell isn't a flavor; it's a type of ice cream.
it's a brand.
It's a brand.
It's a company.
Okay. So my husband does business in Houston. So next time we're in Houston, I best go find some Bluebell ice
Yes,
cream.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And any flavor will be delicious.
The vanilla is listen, vanilla is like the word I use to describe when someone's boring,
I know.
Like
Yeah.
I use that as a negative adjective
Yes. Yeah.
or a movie or a song or a whatever or a concert. I call it vanilla, I'm not the only one, but,
Yes.
but truly, their pride and joy is their homemade vanilla. I mean,
My husband will love you then, because I tease him. We go to ice cream places and there's 100 flavors and he picks vanilla. And I'm like, are you for real?
this
And
one,
he's like, this one is definitely worth it. So I should pick that then. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, go more than once. Go more than once. But on one of the trips, get the vanilla.
Okay. My husband will be so happy that you said that. Okay, David. So there's one experience I want you to share, and then you can share another one that has just come to your mind about where you saw the hand of God in your life. And this one you have shared a few times, I've heard on your Don't Miss This, the experience of when you're on your mission in Korea. So let's get into that first and give the backgrounds and the details so people can understand why it is so special.
Okay,
I'll let you go. And then if you have another one in the back of your mind that is kind of tweaking your brain, let's share that one too.
Okay. This one it's such a favorite of mine because I can tell a story's good for me if I look back and think, did I make that up? Because that is really good. Memories can be like that. But even in the moment it was happening, I was stunned. I was stunned, And so what had happened was I was a missionary in Korea in the beginning, and everything was hard. Food was hard. The weather was hard. I couldn't speak to anybody, and I like to talk to people. So I felt
Did you
really
serve in
lonely.
Seoul?
Seoul. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my husband went to Busan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So I
back
felt
in the 80s.
just really lonely. It was really, really, this is a common experience for missionaries, especially, no matter where they are in the world, but it just complicated it, that I felt that I genuinely, literally was on the other side of the world. Like saw a globe in my mind, and I was like, I'm real life on the other side of the world. And I think God lost me. It's a big world, and Korea's got a lot of people. And I
Yeah.
was one of the only white guys there, but still, I think he was having a hard time finding where I was. So I'm in that place. Now rewind a couple months before. This was in March. In the previous November, I was home from college for Thanksgiving, and got home, and my mom and I took a quick trip together to New York City. My mom loves New York City. She thought I would love New York City, so we went there, and we had a ball together, and it was just fun. Love traveling with my mom. And we found this off-Broadway random show to go to. Maybe my mom did research. I don't know. But like one of the nights, we had these tickets to this play called The Fantastics. And we just watch it, and I can't remember hardly anything what that play was about. But I liked it. I got in trouble during the halftime of the play because I climbed up on the stage for a picture. I didn't know that was a no-no. I mean, it was just...
That's a core memory.
Yeah, it's great, great. And there was this song in the play that you've never heard on the radio in all your life. And it's like the main song of the play. Try to remember a time in September when... I don't even know the words, but it was just like this.
Yeah.
Really playful, sweet song. And so like I just hummed it the rest of the trip, and still in my head 20 whatever years later. And it just kind of, trip songs kind of represent a trip and represent a time of life. And it kind of took on that meaning, a happy time. And anyways, so there I am in Korea, Jungangdaehakyo, the name of the college campus that I was on, having this feeling, just surrounded by people, but completely alone and lost.
So you're like 4 or 5 months later after this play experience with your mom.
Haven't been in Korea very long. And I'm just like, I had this thought and may have said it out loud. I think God lost me. And in that moment, there were speakers in the plaza that I was in on the campus, and they crackled on. They hadn't been playing music previous to this, but they turned on, and that song started to play. This off-Broadway random song in English in Korea starts to play over the speakers. And I knew it was for me. If you want to call it a coincidence, then I'm going to give God the nickname coincidence, because you could not have scripted that scene. I knew it was from God because of the way that it made me feel. I felt so seen. I felt so remembered. I felt like my companion, because I started to tear up, and my companion was like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I was like, God is playing a song for me right now. And it's truly how I felt.
Don't talk to me right now. I'm having a moment.
Exactly.
So did you just feel overcome with emotion at that moment? Like, tell me what the Spirit felt like to you that day, if you can remember.
Felt like home, and ever since then, it's how I've described. One of the descriptions I use for feeling the Spirit is it feels like home.
Like just love familiar. And peace and comfort?
Mm-hmm. Like it was like someone reached out, and how you feel when things are hard and someone you love just puts their arm around you, or
just a big hug,
gives your hand a squeeze, gives you a hug, or whatever. It felt like that. It felt like you're not lost. This is going to be hard still. I'm not changing the weather, and I'm not going to change the language, and I'm not going to change the food. Right? It's been this way for thousands of years. Sorry, but I will let you know that you don't have to do this. You're not doing this by yourself. And I felt like it was like the one time God would want to intervene, because I feel like he would say, the one thing I need you to not get wrong is about my character and how I feel about you. I want to insist that you know that about me. How I feel about you is really important to me. And so bless their heart, whoever needed the radio or the speakers that day, but God hijacked it and said, I'm going to have to use this. I'm going to have to use this for a minute because, one of my kids needs to be reminded of something.
And I love that on so many levels. You're this one little 19-year-old boy from America in Korea where there's hundreds of thousands and millions of people. And God took time to be like, hey, David, I actually love you. I know where you are and I care about you. And
Yeah.
at 19, that is a really profound thing to know, right? I
Right.
mean, I'm sure that that experience alone could carry you through the rest of your life.
Well, part of it is true because it's the first time, well, I'd gone to college, but like one of the first times that I went off on my own and did something beyond my comfort zone that was
Sure.
hard and scary to do. And it almost just has given me confidence to do that again and again and again throughout my life. To get married, to move to a new place, to have a kid, to have another kid and another and another. And it just is like you're stepping into the unknown every time. And I almost feel like I have this sense of confidence about it because, in part, because of that experience. At least that's a tangible moment I can point to for something I believe is true about God.
Yeah, like you say,
And
that's a very distinct thing where I know his character and I know he loves me.
right, right.
Like if we can teach our kids those two things, I know his character and I know he loves me. Well, and I'm his child, but that sort of goes along with he loves me, right? That I feel like those two truths can carry you through anything.
Yeah, right. With
Right?
confidence, right? I can walk into difficult experiences with confidence. I was like, this doesn't mean it'll be easy, but it means God will do it with me.
Yeah. And if he's my partner, I can't fail.
Yeah, right,
Right? What better partner to have in life or in any situation than God? When he
right,
knows your heart, he knows your abilities, and he wants the best for you.
right.
That's so great, David. That's so great. Now, is there another experience that has sort of come to your mind that you would like to share where you saw the hand of God working in your life? You probably have lots. It's hard
I
to narrow down.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually think I am a big advocate and a bad practitioner of keeping track of them. You know? I am, yeah, really, really. You
Because
could
that's one
scold
of my
me.
questions for people is, do you write these experiences down?
And listen, they're all a lot of them are out there because I record so much and write so much, you know. But
In one place for your kids to read?
exactly. And
And you're a
I
writer, David. You're a writer, for Pete's sake.
I know. But
Okay, this is just me chastising,
and it's needed because I really, and I give myself some credit because I really have written a lot of things and I've written them down. They just need to be compiled,
Yes.
into one place because I can remember, I picked up my journal one time, and this has happened to so many people, my mission journal, and read a line on a random day that said, "I'll never forget this experience." And I had that is, you could have read it to me and said, "Guess who this was?" And the last person would have been me. Like I wouldn't have guessed me. And so
It just goes to show how much we can't trust our memory.
for sure. So this one I wrote down, the one in Korea. So that one's written. But yeah, I want to be better. Need to be better about compiling them into one place.
Here's a tip that I've done because I'm not a good writer and I hate writing. And so I just literally have a note in my phone, like spiritual events or whatever, and I just talk it into my phone.
Oh,
And
that's
then
smart.
when I get time, I'll copy and paste that into an email, print it out and type it and then just like paste it into my journal.
Stick it into a place. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
because I have a
so many
spiritual
ways
journal.
for this to be easy and
Yes, it
simple.
needs to be easy, right?
Right.
So is there one that has come to your mind?
Well, I have this one, and you may have heard this story before, but it is interesting because my son, this happened to my son, and we were on our way to church, and my sister-in-law was in town, so she had 800 kids, and so combined we had 10,000, and we are going into church, and it's a huge snowstorm, and the parking lot, no one's parked in parking spots, and like people are just, it's like a foot of slush to get into the church building, and we are walking to the church building trying to grab all the kids that we have, and my son Christian said, "Oh no." I was like, "What, bud?" And he said, "I lost my sword." And I was like, "What sword?" And he says, my Lego pirate had a sword. And
So
it's,
they're like,
yes, and
Yeah.
it's gone. It's lost. And I was like, okay, cross the street, buddy. Because we're just in the middle of the road. And so we cross the street, get onto like up to the door for the church. And I'm trying to get everybody in because it's still snowing. Everyone's cold and crying. And we start walking in, and Christian is so distressed about losing this sword. And I was like, well, this happens when you bring pirates to church. Pirates don't want to go to church. This is, just come in. And I actually thought in my head, you should pray about it and find the sword. And then I backed off because I thought, well, if we pray for it and don't find it, Christian will actually not believe in prayer.
I had that experience myself.
Yep. So I was like, I don't dare. Plus I could just buy a new one, is what I thought. And then Christian said, hey, Dad.
How old is Christian at this time? Is he like 6?
Oh, man. Yeah, something like that.
Little.
Yeah,
He's
little boy. He says, Dad, what if we prayed and then found it? And I said to Christian, Christian, there are some things God can't even find. So we're just going to have to let that go. And let's go to church.
Oh, you have little faith.
So we go to church, and we're there for however long, churches. And we are coming out of church. It has snowed the whole time we were in church.
So now you're like 2 feet of snow.
So it's worse. And we're trudging back to the car, again, trying to cross the street while everyone's, trying to get out of the parking lot. It's chaos. And Christian cheers. And I look back, and he has in his hand the sword that he found in the snow crossing the street. And I stopped traffic because I was like, Christian, how did you do that? And then he said back to me, I guess you were wrong, Dad. I prayed and then I found it. And crazy. And I'm so happy to be wrong about that. Right? I'm so happy to be proven wrong. And it's a line that I've said to myself, if ever I find myself losing hope or losing belief or losing faith, like, well, what if you're wrong? What if God's better than you're thinking?
I love that
he is. And then it's funny because a month later, one of the kids lost a Lego thing on the playground and all the wood chips.
Shoot.
And they came and they're like, Dad, I lost whatever. I was like, you guys keep Legos at the house from now on. And I said, well, we should pray because God's really good at finding Legos. We know he is. Like, he's done it. Yeah. And we did. We prayed and we found the Lego in the wood chips. And I was like, wow, okay. So, and then Christian is my boy that just left on his mission to Bolivia. And the day that he left for his mission, like you can imagine, it's like,
you think it's going to be easier the second time, but it's not.
No, it's not. And you're kind of putting him into God's hands. And you're like, is everything going to be okay? Are you going to be okay? I mean, it just is, it's hard. It's hard to do that thing. And I came home and I can't even remember where I was in my house. But in the midst of wondering, is he going to be okay? I found this Lego sword on the ground.
For those of you that are just listening, he just held up the little tiny Lego sword.
And so now I have
you
this.
You just randomly found that, eh?
Yeah. And I keep this on my desk now as just a reminder that, everything's going to be okay. He's in God's hands, and God's hands are good.
And have you reminded him of that story recently?
I sent it to him. I sent him a picture of the sword. And he was like, no way.
But that's like a physical reminder of a time when God was there for you.
Yeah.
And so if he's there for you when you're 5, he's certainly going to be there for you as an 18-year-old missionary.
Yeah.
You're doing his work. So he's for sure, right? Like that's awesome. Okay, so David, you have written a course called Holy Envy. I had never heard that term before. I don't think until it was either when we went to Israel together in April of 2023 or just before that. Maybe somebody had used that term in conference or something. And I'd actually never heard of it. But when we were in Israel and we went to the Western Wall, that was a super profound experience for me of Holy Envy. Like seeing those people, dressed in their Sunday best, walking to the wall as we weren't there yet, right? Families were walking there and we were just kind of in the market area or whatever.
Yeah.
And then going there and seeing these young adult girls, because, they separate the men and the women. And these girls are like arm in arm and they're singing and dancing and they pulled us in. And I was just so emotional about that. Like just looking at these girls and these moms and these families that are, praying and have their families there. And I'm just like, wow, these people are living their religion with their whole heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was just a super profound way of experiencing holy envy. And so explain to me, first of all, what is holy envy? And a little bit about this course. I do have it, and I've just started it, and I was kind of mind blown and overwhelmed. I started reading Hinduism. I'm like, holy cow, this makes our religion seem like peanuts because there's a lot going on here. But it's so beautiful, but it's so deep, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so much to it. And I'm like, wow, we think that we got a lot. We ain't got nothing compared to that.
Mm-hmm.
But the ideas are the same, right? Like, so tell me a little bit about what holy envy means. Why did you even do this course, and a little bit about it?
Yeah, so holy envy is kind of a concept and idea. I got that phrase from a bishop in the Church of Sweden, who he was giving kind of rules of engagement with other faith traditions.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave, it said, don't ever compare your best to someone else's worst. And if you're going to find out about another faith, ask the people who follow that faith, not its enemies.
Right.
And then he said, and third, he says, leave room in your heart for holy envy. Like, have an open enough heart to see the hand of God in someone else's faith tradition that is different than yours.
Oh, I love that.
And it's a practice of seeing and finding what's good and beautiful and true and praiseworthy about the other faith traditions of the world. You can find them and should find them in your own faith tradition. But imagine what happens to your view of God when you start finding his hand in all people throughout the world. And, that all of a sudden his heart gets far bigger than you ever imagined that it was, and more inclusive and so diverse in the way he reaches out and in the way people reach to him. Like you begin to get a sense of his infinite love and his infinite capacity to reach and take care of all of his children. The world is so big and so different, and the fact that we can find so much that is common among us and so much that is good and beautiful among us is just, I think it has done such good things for my belief in God and my faith and trust in God and my identity as a child of God in a family sense.
The enormity of it, right?
Yeah, I've always had the strong part of calling myself a child of God has been that he's my father and cares about me. But there's another aspect to being a child of God, and that's you're a part of a family, and that God cares for all of us together, that we're all a part of this together, that we care for each other, that we look out for each other. And one of the, I think, best ways to learn to see the hand of God and to love our neighbors is to find out about the way they believe and the way they practice their faith, and to ask not just what they believe, because there's so much that's beautiful about what somebody believes, and to find what's common, but to find and discover why people believe. Why are you doing this? Why is this important to you? And that is really what is common among us, is our why we believe, what we're hoping for, what we're looking for.
So have you always been intrigued with other religions? Is that what kind of led you to do this course?
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about that process. Like, how did you come to do this, and where can people find it?
Well, it kind of started when I was in China, actually, and I had several conversations on this. I was there for a business trip and a meeting with some factories over there. And in the midst of that day, I'd had several conversations with people about their faith. And everybody I talked to that day told me they've never thought about God before, not once.
Well, because you're in China.
Yeah. And I was stunned, actually.
So do they believe in a higher power, or just not?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, China is a very religious country. But it just was fascinating to me that I was like, wait, so I live my life every day. I wake up and eat and pay my taxes and shop and plan experiences with an undergirding sense of confidence that God in heaven knows my name and cares about me. And it was remarkable to me that is not the experience of these people. And it made me wonder, how many people is this not the experience of? And I'm walking down the street that evening, and there's literally tens of thousands of people out on the streets when I'm walking, and I started to get bitter and a little bit angry And I thought it was unfair. It didn't feel right. It didn't match up with the character of God that I believed in, because the conclusion I came to was, well, why does he care so much about me? Why would I know all of this stuff and not all of them? And
Right.
instead of feeling better than everyone, I actually felt upset at the unfairness of God. I was like, hold on. And in the midst of that bitterness, I either heard or felt a voice that was so distinct. And the voice spoke these words: I will take care of all of my children. And it put me on this path to try and discover how and where is God reaching out. I'm a Christian, and at the heart of my belief is that God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son. And if he's willing to send his son, the ultimate gift of love, what else is he, and will he be doing to show that love to the whole world? And my study of world religions and different faith traditions is teaching me so much about the way that people connect with God and the way that God connects with them. And it's answering that question. It's giving color to the statement I heard that night, that I'll take care of all of my children. So I coincidentally, right after that experience, yeah, or not, was assigned when I was teaching full time at the UVU Institute. It's I was teaching religious education, the topic of world religions.
Well, you were assigned that right after you had that experience.
Yeah.
Boy.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going into the deep end on this. And I started my study. And I feel like I've always loved people and food and languages and cultures, and I love diversity and all. I love already, but I didn't feel qualified teaching a class where I was just like, I just love people,
Yeah.
But it did motivate my study, and I started to read and to attend and to visit and to talk, and to just ever since then, I've been a gatherer of the sacred traditions and beliefs and experiences of people all over the world.
Oh, I love it.
And so after years of teaching that course and it being a passion of mine, I recorded essentially the whole course in this. So I created a digital course that people could, if they were like, I want to do that. I want to take a 100-foot flyover all the different faith traditions of the world, and in an inspiring way, and in a friendly way, and in a we're all in this together kind of way. So
yeah, I love it. So where, if somebody wants to get the course, where can they go to find it?
It's housed right now on, if you went to don'tmissthisstudy.com, which is my scripture podcast, the website for that, we have a menu called courses, and there's a few of them in there, and one of them is Holy Envy.
Is Holy Envy, and one of them is the Book of Revelations, probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that. So okay, so don'tmisstthis.com.
Don't miss this study.
Don'tmissthisstudy.com. Yeah. Okay, well,
or if someone was on my Instagram, it's easy to find in my links in my bio on my Instagram.
Your links in your bio too. So, and you are Mr. Dave Butler.
Yep.
On Instagram.
Right.
So people can find that there. All right, one more thing I want to just ask you about real quick. So on Palm Sunday of this year, you participated in a multi-faith Palm Sunday celebration.
Yeah.
Were you kind of one of the instigators? I mean, John Hilton was involved in that.
Yeah, no, John actually, he asked me if I wanted to be involved in it. And it was already, invitations had already gone out. The venue had already been reserved. Like everything was set up. I was ready to, because when he asked, I was like, yes. And I'm actually really opinionated about this. So how can I help? Should we look at groups, musicians? And he was like, oh, we got that all done. We kind of just want you to be a part of it this year. And I was so thrilled. I was so thrilled to be.
What was your favorite part? I mean, I was able to watch it, and I love the whole thing, like the different speakers from different faiths, and you gave a great talk, and I could tell you were super excited. But what was your favorite part, I guess, of that day, of being part of that experience?
There's something about Holy Week that is representative of the kind of life of faith I want to live. And each day in Holy Week almost symbolizes, I mean, they were real events, but to me, they almost symbolize the different experiences of the soul.
Now tell if people don't know, what is Holy Week, in case people aren't sure.
Yeah. So Holy Week is the week from Palm Sunday leading up to Easter Sunday.
That
and
week
the
before.
Gospels in the New Testament catalog the different experiences Jesus has and the disciples have throughout that Holy Week.
That last week of his life.
That last week of his life. And so some of those include like silence on Wednesday, like retreating at times is actually really good for the soul. Mm-hmm. And he gathers with his closest friends and speaks of love on Thursday. And friendship and love is really good for the soul. And his disciples mourn at the cross, and Jesus sacrifices on the cross, and sacrifice and mourning are good for the soul. There's waiting on Saturday without any answers, a chance to practice hope, and hope is good for the soul. Then there's Easter Sunday, and the celebration of victory is good for the soul. And Palm Sunday, which begins it all, is a day of jubilee. It's a day of rejoicing, of cheering, of making room for the goodness of God to flow into your life. It's a day of waving palms and saying, we need your help. Ride in.
Hosanna, Hosanna.
Help us. Hosanna. And so that is so good for my soul to live out that emotion and that faith practice. And so I loved it. I absolutely loved every moment of that event. I'm glad you got to watch it. I'm sad you were not there. The feeling in that room was electric. It was electric. And to stand there, because I was up at the front. I got lucky to be up at the front to look at this building full of people standing room only.
It was in the
tabernacle. Right.
Which is such an astounding, historical, beautiful building anyway.
Right.
And to be able to share that with different faith traditions.
It was so remarkable.
To come together, right? To come together in a common thing of, we all believe in Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what kind of, all the differences we have, but they all believe in Palm Sunday like we do.
Right. Well, and what it felt like to me was we stood arm in arm with each other. And Hosanna is a prayer. It's a prayer for God's salvation is what it is. So we stood there all together as brothers and sisters and prayed for God's help in our families, in our world. And it was so uniting. It was so worshipful. It was so full of praise. It just was, I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah. You could just, even watching it, you could just feel the spirit of of the Lord, and I'm so happy that my kids are coming together.
Yes.
And loving each other, so I'm assuming it's going to be a tradition now.
Yeah, except I have a secret. It's not really a secret anymore, but I'm sad because I will not be in town for Palm Sunday this year, 2020, whatever it's going to be, 2026. I won't be in town.
Because you're going to be touring.
Yes, I'll be touring. But here's the good news for me. I will be in Israel on Palm Sunday.
Yes.
And so I will participate in Palm Sunday, but just not here in Utah. I will do it with the Christian pilgrims who come to.
You've been in Israel on Palm Sunday before, haven't you?
Never. No.
Oh,
no. And I could die after it and be fine.
Don't say that, because we don't want that to happen.
Because that is that's
on the bucket list.
It's top. And when I think about it, it makes me teary. It makes me teary to even imagine being there.
And walking.
Because you were there, but we take the Palm Sunday walk.
Yes.
The route of it on my tour to Israel with every trip. And I get emotional.
Great.
I get emotional every single time. Every single time.
Well, and this time you really will.
With everybody. So I really am sad. I'm sad to miss out on being together with everyone here. But I'm thrilled to be there.
Yes, 2026 is going to be busy for you. You're in Israel, and then you're doing the tour, or you're the Paul thing, and the cruise and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a good year for you. All right, David, one last question. Why do you think it's important to recognize the hand of God in your life?
This kind of goes a little bit with holy envy. That's a really wide scale. That's exactly what holy envy is looking for the hand of God all over the world. And I feel so privileged to be in a faith tradition where we gather together with other people of faith once a week, at least. to hear again and again and again how good God is in different people's lives and different people's stories. It happens when I read scripture. I find out what God is doing in scripture, and then it leads me to try and look for it in my own life. And the same thing can happen as I hear other people speak of God's hand in their life. It just like infuses me with hope. You know, we talk about, I'm looking for the hand of God in my life. And I think about, well, what do I want a hand for? And sometimes I want a hand to hold, or I want a hand of blessing, or I want a hand of protection, or a hand of comfort. The hand is a symbol of help and strength and guidance and love. And so when I look for the hand of God, I'm recognizing not just that he's there, but that he's there to help and to bless and to guide and to love. That he feel like a little kid reaching for his father's hand, crossing the street of this dangerous world. And I think that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm finding. That's what I'm experiencing when I see it. It's so easy to see what's wrong and what's hard and what's different. And those things can be deafening and they can be blinding. But we can be deliberate about seeing his hand. And then we live life blessed, guided, helped, and loved. And that's why I think it's important.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate you taking time chatting with me today.
Well, I loved it every second.
Yes, thank you. You're awesome. So we will chat soon and have a super great day.
Okay, you too.
Thanks for listening. If you have an experience where you have seen the hand of God or your higher power in your life, I want to hear about it. Please send an email to Sheila@beyondcoincidence.com. Have a great day.